Okay, hello all you crazy people out there. My name is Michael. I like wizards and dragons and making games, and I'm not actually going to be playing much of this Bullet Hell game today. I'm just gonna look at Bullet Heaven 2 for a little bit of inspiration in terms of UI. So ignore the pause stuff in the middle. I'm more interested in the stuff on the sides. I'm not super trying to like just copy Kupomat's user interface here, but I am going to use it to sort of illustrate what I'm going to be going for in the user interface for this here Bullet Hell game that still doesn't have a name. Come to think of it, I should probably think of a name for it soon. So the gameplay itself is in the middle of the screen here for this game, and that's, I think, something that I would like to do myself. On the sides, I'm not entirely sure what I want to put on the sides. I'm not entirely sure if I want to actually have stuff on both sides or if I just want to have like the user interface on one side and a pretty picture on the other or something like that. Or perhaps have the gameplay on one side of the screen and the user interface on like either the left or on the right. I think I want to say on the left is more common for Bullet Hell games. I don't know if that's a fact because, like I said, I don't play a ton of them. I definitely like to have enough space for actual like text. In particular, the text here has is white text with a black stroke around it, which does make it easier to see at small sizes, which is really something that I should probably consider doing myself at some point. I did ultimately, in Bombardier, decide against using Scribble for user interface, but having built-in outline text is something that Scribble would have definitely made easier. I guess there's always the old-fashioned way of just drawing text layered on top of itself, slightly offset. Anyway, off subject. What I definitely do not want to do is have either all of the UI at the top or all of the UI on the bottom of the screen, or even worse, both, because that will shrink the vertical range which you can see in. Bullet Hell games in particular, specifically Bullet Hell games in which the gameplay is top and bottom. I guess there do exist Bullet Hell games that are like left to right. You would prefer to have as much space visible top to bottom as possible, because that gives you slightly more space to maneuver, slightly more time to see enemy bullets coming on, and that kind of thing. So I definitely want the user interface on the sides. It's definitely just mostly a question of exactly where on the sides I want it. Okay? Let's see. Oh, there's also an FPS counter up there. Forgot about that. It's been a while since I played Bullet Heaven 2. Okay, so if we look at the to-do list for today, I'm going to try to get all of this in. None of this should take a tremendous amount of time on their own because, like, it should take like 30 seconds to get a text label on the screen that says like the amount of time you've been playing or that kind of thing. And the rest of it really should just be displaying numbers on the screen. They shouldn't be anything complicated. It's probably going to be more of an issue of exactly laying out where I want stuff to go.
Hey.
All right, let's get started. So I guess I did say out loud, and I still don't really know if this is true or not, but I guess out of lack of better things to do, I will just roll with the assumption that text and user interface will go on this side of the screen. Let's see. And I'll play with the actual layout and appearance of it later. I don't know. I think maybe, I guess if you read left to right, which languages in the West tend to do, having the gameplay on the left and then like flicking your eyes over to the right for the user interface would be the more intuitive thing to do. I do not know that for a fact. You could just as easily argue that the opposite should be true. Come on. Can I select? There we go. Let me move all these guys over. So I'll be assuming that the rightmost 160 pixels or so are just not part of the playfield. Exactly how far is this? You know what? Wait, I have a better idea. UI gameplay stuff can go off to the side there. And I'll just make the actual game window 1024 by 768, and then like the room size 1024 by 768. And the game window on the screen, because this is 4x3 and nobody likes 4x3 screens in this day and age, the game window will be bigger than that, but the room is only going to actually occupy this space, and the UI will live off on the side. So whatever, like, 300 something pixels remaining are, the remaining 342 pixels will be for UI. Okay, and then now I can reasonably move wave 2 over a little bit, and probably also wave 1 back into its starting position, like that. Then maybe wave 3 can be centered a little better. I don't know. Good enough. And then on the side of the screen, we can have the UI. So this, I'll run the game now, and I'm pretty sure all that we're actually going to see is, yeah, this is the squished window with the short aspect ratio. Good, you're in the right place. To get around that, we can, let's see, where is the game manager? The game controller. Let's say in the create event, which in this case is analogous to game start, window is set size. I'll hardcode this to 1366 and 768 for now. Eventually, like, this is eventually going to be loaded from a setting, from a game setting, from a file anyway. This should be all I need to... Okay, so this... Not quite. I feel like the application surface is being drawn in the middle of the screen for some reason. Draw application surface draw enable. Okay, I can set application surface draw enable to false, and then I can manually draw the application surface. In draw post draw surface. The ID is app surface, position X, position Y. Okay. Alright, so you are properly being drawn on the side of the screen. If I move my cursor over... Oh, you know what? Okay, the mouse position is not aligned with the actual player. And for that, I'm gonna have to do something else. First, where is, graphical stuff, user interface stuff, the UI parent, the alignment should be, instead of room width, room height, this should be window get width and window get height. Okay. I feel like this should have been done in the last video, but it didn't strike me until this video. Alright. This should cause things to be aligned properly. No, it is still not causing things to be aligned properly. Why is that? Oh, I know why that is. I think I know why that is anyway. What's the... Yep. Anchor horizontal is set to FA left. This should be set to FA underscore right. As should the things that are sitting on it. FA right. No, now we're doing the opposite. Oh, hang on. I think it was right the first time. So when it's created, when it's initialized, it should be relative to the room. When it is drawn, when it is positioned in real time, it should be relative to the window. I think that might have been correct the first time. So we will not have that living all the way off to the side. Let's see, can I make the grid size 16 and 16? This will be a little bit awkward. If and when you try to make the screen bigger, because the UI will not scale with the screen, it'll just be a fixed size, which may not be ideal, but I'll take care of that when I actually get to resolution and stuff. Okay, once again, why are you... What is your offset, and why are you being drawn at the wrong offset? Alright, this is something that I did not expect to have this much trouble with. It was display set GUI maximize. Let me try that. Computers are weird. Alright, well that did it. Alright, took 10 minutes to work that out, but we now have the application surface being drawn at the right size. Next, commit this change before I do anything else because I'm going to want that. And the player, dealing with the player being offset from the mouse position, which should just be a simple matter, and watch it not be, but this should just be a simple matter of window mouse get X and window mouse get Y. Instead of using the room-based mouse X, mouse Y. Is there anywhere else where that's used? All right. Okay, so the player is now correctly following the mouse cursor around. There's a couple other places where like room height and width are hard-coded into things. Aside from the UI stuff, constraining objects to within the playing field, such as pickups and bullets and whatever. This is going to want to be... Actually, I think that's okay. Is it okay? Okay, yeah, that should be okay, because the room size is set to 1092 by 768, and it should stay that way. The matter of scaling is still present, because I would like the user interface to, like, not get bigger at bigger screen sizes. I would like it to stay the same size at bigger screen sizes, which wasn't a problem with Bombardier, because the UI was floating over the actual game world. But in this case, it'll be like its own separate thing, and I'm gonna need a way for the game world to scale nicely as well. That is one advantage of splitting the UI between like two halves on either side. The game world can just grow, and it'll be less awkward if the UI grows because it won't be as wide to begin with. But that's a point of philosophical debate for later. Like, there are solutions to it, I just don't know what my preferable solution is. Okay. Like, I guess you always could just have the gameplay area get wider at higher resolutions if you want the UI to stay the same size, but that would cause gameplay to change slightly because things would be more spread out, and it would play differently because things are more spread out, and it would probably be easier overall because the density of bullets isn't as high, but... Anyway, let's move on to easier things. So I have game UI time, game UI wave number, game UI score. I have score. I should probably name these now inst score. I'm gonna call this inst like game background. Stop that. Thank you. No, not what I was looking for. Why do I keep clicking on that? I clicked on that like 3 times in a row. Yeah, this is score. I'll probably have like a level title. Control... No, stop. First. Control CV, and once again, I had to think about it like 5 seconds. Don't click on variables, click on creation code. Don't know why that's suddenly hard. So the level name is going to be on top. Creation code score, that's fine. I'm going to give these all names. There is, of course, the wave timer, as well as just, and I haven't added this yet, but the timer for how long you've been playing in general. That can be done pretty easily. By initializing game timer in level constructor and then an update game timer plus equals DT. And then back here we can, and this will definitely look better in the future. We can have the timer. The score, I'm gonna make the score first, or I guess second, counting the title, and the timer before score. Creation code, time can be game controller.level. Game time. And I would like to have, like, one to skin this so that it looks less like a bunch of generic buttons. But also to have maybe, like, a smaller thing under here that says, like, score multiplier. Did I hide the grid? I hid the grid. I will not show the multiplier timer because I don't want to give the player that to worry about, but the other stuff can be there. Alright, so time should probably be displayed as, like, seconds. Score is fine, multiplier is 1. Score should be floored, multiplier should be floored as well, even if internally it's a floating point number. Boy, even... It is hard since there is, like, a delay between waves when you can actually take stuff down. It is hard to... like, keep up that chain in between waves. I'll have to work out the mechanics of that later. Anyway, score can be floored, rounded down. And the timer can be done in pieces. So we're gonna round down the game time for 1 so that it doesn't display a decimal part. And then if seconds is, let's say, less than or equal to 60, then we'll just show the number of seconds. Otherwise, we can kind of format this as a clock. Seconds div 60 for the integer part of the minute, followed by a colon, followed by seconds mod 60. And this will cause the slight problem. Alright, fine. This will cause the slight problem of, like, if you have 62 seconds on the clock, it'll show 1:2 instead of 1:02. I'll let the timer tick up so you can see what I mean. There you go. That doesn't look right. Time 1,5. GameMaker has a function, string format, but it doesn't really help for formatting times. This is for decimals. It would be nice if you could use it to prepend zeros, but as a substitute, we can just use a little conditional if seconds is seconds mod 60 is less than 10. We're going to draw a string. Gotta put the parentheses in the right place. 0 plus the string of seconds mod 60. Actually, you know what I can do? If seconds mod 60 is less than 10, in the name of keeping this as short as possible, draw the 0, otherwise draw an empty string plus seconds mod 60. Okay, now if I were to run the game and let the clock run up, you should see that it's fixed. Okay. So now that I look at it, it's a little weird the way it goes from 60 to 1:01, so I think instead of saying less than or equal to 60, I'm really starting to hate these workspaces. I hope by the time this video goes up, the UI overhaul is out. Let's just make that seconds less than 60, and then it'll start at 1:00, which should be better. Okay, what else? Player health, which is definitely a big one. Player charge status. Not sure how I want that to look, but for now I'll just draw like a true-false, or yeah, I'll draw like a true-false. In the future, it might be like a ring indicating like charge status or something like that, or some other kind of visual icon. But for now, we're just gonna draw player health. Inst_game health, and this can be string of int player dot health, like that. All right, and now if I take a hit, I should go down. All right, if I take too many hits, I'll just be at 0 because I haven't implemented dying yet. I'm surprised I didn't in the past at least like do a show message you died or something like that. Oh, it'll keep going negative. Let's see. What other stats are there? So time I can complete, sure. Log those points. Wave number. Wave number is in it, right? Did I do wave number or did I forget? I did not. Okay. Let me what keeps turning off the grid snapping? There's gotta be some shortcut that turns that off that I keep hitting by accident. See, this can be wave. Wave index, followed by a slash, followed by the size of the array of game controller.level.waves. Waves. All right, that should draw the correct value. All right, wave 1 of 3. If I take you down, there's not a lot to this game yet, but it is moving a lot faster than Bombardier did at the beginning. I died, says the thing at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so I didn't implement that, and we are now on wave 3 of 3. Wow. Oh, those are my own recursive bullets. That's not yours shooting at me. I should probably give them a different design so you can tell at a glance. Anyway. What else is there? Alright, I think that's it for now. I definitely want to make it prettier. Well, not like this video for now, but for that UI label. Wave number and total waves. Score is done. Player health is done. Stats to be tracked. And enemies remaining on the screen. Alright, that's another easy one. Again, the grid is gone. I don't know why. Inst game. I wish I would make up my mind over whether I want to call them foes or enemies. Or as a third option, like something else, but I'll go with, I've been mostly calling them foes. And I think I'll put this on a separate line. And this, really? What? So like, that just created a bunch of new folders. What is the hotkey for turning this off? It doesn't say. I really, this is driving me insane. GameMaker I. Like, you give me the ability to drag this thing over the top of the screen, and yet you don't give me the ability to literally see what hotkey toggles the grid, because I keep hitting it. Oh, it's G. Why don't you just show that on a tooltip? Because clearly I keep doing it. Hang on, wait. Furthermore, if I type the letter G... If I type the letter G in a creation code window, this gets toggled. That is... Look, I like GameMaker, but that's a little ridiculous. I think after I finish recording this, I'm gonna file a complaint. Anyway. This is gonna be the last one of these I record today, because as you can probably tell by my voice, I am starting to get a little tired. Alright. That was an ordeal. Special attack charge status. Oh, you know what? And keeping it, like, in lore-friendly, we'll just call them bugs, because that's what all these things are going to be. As if my complaining about the fruit flies buzzing around my head wasn't enough of an indication for what I think about those things. And grid snapping is off, too. Even better. Less ambiguous. We know exactly what we're doing. So we have bugs on screen. We have like bugs stomped or something is going to be the kill counter. I guess that data will also be in the level. Stomp count equals 0. And we'll just keep track of the stomp count. Like that. And, alright, that'll probably be on its own line because that number might get rather huge. And it might overflow that box that it's sitting in. And the counters are behaving correctly. Okay. Whoa, that was a big boom. All right, that's fun. Enemy bullets on screen. That could actually be difficult to count. And also, that's not a stat that I actually find very interesting. I don't know why I decided to put it on the list. Let's send you to the backlog, because that is my archive of things that are slightly dead. Lastly, special attack charge is the last relevant piece of UI. Yeah, again, this will probably take a different look later on when content is worked on. And I don't think I named this one. I did name that one. So this is going to be... shot cooldown setting macro minus player dot shot cooldown divided by the shot cooldown macro. Should be that mathematical equation. What did I even call it? Macro... Oh, help. This was sub-attack cooldown minus player dot... What was the charge level called? I can probably close these UI editors now, because I don't think I need those for the time being. Shot cooldown. It's not the hardest variable name to guess. Alright, divided by the max value. And that is going to be times 100 rounded down. And followed by a percent sign. Like that. Nope, apparently not. Okay, wrong math equation? That is 4. It should be 4 minus whatever the cooldown level is. Oh, times 100. That's not the proper value. Oh, that's the regular shot cooldown. That should be shot cooldown sub. Okay. Not the hardest variable name to guess, and I got it wrong. When it gets to 100... Alright, why was it negative briefly when I started the game? That was a little weird. Like, why was it negative? Probably because it was set to 5, and this should be 4, because that was not macro properly earlier. I wasn't looking. Oh, come on. This is the worst part of doing UI. Alright, good. It started at 0. And does it go higher than 1? It does. Alright. I think I said something about allowing it to go to 2, to 200. Once it gets to 200%. I think I fired them at the same time. Anyway. Oh, you know what? It was reset completely. In the step event, this should bottom out at 0 though. So this is going to equal max of 0 and that value minus the delta time. So that will cause it to bottom out at 0. So the charge level will never go above 100% like that. All right. If I wanted to allow the charge level to go higher, I could, instead of making this 0, I could make that a macro or something, or a config value of some sort, but... Alright, I'm going to also change this to MB pressed. Just in case I do decide to do that, and that would make it so that you don't constantly, like, double execute your fire. Alright. Wonderful. So that is actually several things that I did here. changes to the room will be committed. First, some maintenance. This will be several commits. So that's going to do it for today. I'm going to move this over to complete for now. Later on, we'll be dedicated to making it more pretty, but that's good enough for now. Next time, I do want to implement a pause state. That'll include setting up a pause menu, drawing it, a button for resume game. Wow. Give me water. I've done like 5 of these today, and you can probably tell. And a back to main menu button, which will do nothing for now. This is going to mirror the development of Bombardier in the UI sorts of respects. I kind of want to drag the like win-lose menu, the title screen mode and whatnot to like the in progress, because that's probably going to be, what am I talking about? That's certainly going to be recorded in the same day. And I want to feel like I want to feel like I'm getting things done. So, you know what? This is my to-do list, so I will do that. There's a bunch of why is this in the UI menu? I guess because that's part of the UI that I need to design to whatever. Anyway, we'll also come up with something resembling a main menu next time, as well as all of the appropriate buttons that would go with it. Quitting the game, that sort of thing. Player upgrades, settings. I probably won't create like a upgrades menu now, or a collectibles menu now. I don't think I've talked about my plans for that. I do want to have like some sort of persistent reward for beating levels, other than unlocking the next levels. But that's a story for another day. Alright, that should be probably about 3 videos off in the future. How's the progress board look? Okay, so we're about 21% of the way through the work items on this sprint 2 and 16% of the way through the points. Points might be a little bit overestimated, so it might be a little less than that in reality. If I were to look at the actual project dashboard, which I haven't in a while, I am about 30% of the way there, at least, or so I think, which is nice. As I said, this is definitely moving a lot faster than Bombardier. By this point in the Tower Defense series, I had like barely any gameplay, because I kept going back and forth in what I wanted to do with like 3D rendering. Hopefully this whole thing can be at the door in about 40 videos, hopefully a little bit less than that, looking at the end of the year, as opposed to a year and a half the way the other one was. So, alright, I guess that's going to do it for me for today. If you want the code for this, look for the GitHub repository down in the video description. Look for 0.10 for the week 10 release. That badge will show up eventually. Let's see, I have a Patreon, so if you want to contribute towards these videos being made, look for the link to that in all the usual places. Otherwise, I try to post about 2 game dev videos a week, one of these and one tutorial. I like to focus on the weirder things you can do in GameMaker. If you have any interest in doing 3D things in GameMaker, feel free to subscribe. Otherwise, I hope you all found that interesting, and I will see you all later. You know, I like ending these videos on this progress thing. Can I set sprint 2 as like the active sprint now that I've started doing that? There we go. Special thanks to Zenjamin, Then Nothing Happened, Squarecrow, Sindra Larson, Posho, Gunnar Clovis, GameMaker, Edward Holt, DJ Gibbles, and Army Armbruster for supporting these videos. If you want to see your name in the credits or hear yourself shouted out at the end like this, head on over to the Patreon page down in the video description to join the fun.